mining.com.au is coming to you once again from the RIU Explorers Conference, which is currently underway in Fremantle. Sitting next to me is ABC Refinery's Global Head of Institutional Markets, Nicholas Frappell. Nick, it is a pleasure to see you again. How are you?
And you too, Shae.
Another conference and another day that we get to talk about gold,
Yes.
which has been quite a popular metal the last few months. I know the market's been pretty volatile. Can you sort of give me a high-level summary of some of the key drivers of it lately?
Look, I think people have been concerned about, worried about all sorts of uncertainty, geopolitical and so on, economic uncertainty, or also, perhaps concerned that the dollar may weaken further. Did weaken a fair bit since Liberation Day, whatever it was, in April last year, and some signs that may carry on weakening, not like in a very dramatic way, but just in a persistent way. Also debt, that's the kind of almost like the forever factor with gold. Debt's been climbing for a long time, but not just in America, but Japan, even China, pretty much every advanced economy has some kind of debt problem. It's just a question of how big you think the problem is. And then on top of that, gold playing its role as a bit of a diversification tool. You've got some really high valuations with some of the US stock market and so on, and just having gold and all of that has been a pretty wise choice.
Now, I know you were a keynote speaker here at the conference, and I know one thing that you have become quite famous for is some of your price predictions. As I've spoken about in other media, you've basically called this market almost tick for tick. What are some of the price points that you might have put up on the screen today?
Actually, do you know what? This time, for various reasons, I didn't put any targets.
No, you didn't.
I know, I disappointed you. But nonetheless, there are sort of price targets. And if we look at the upside, to wind things back a little bit, one of the big questions is, we've obviously seen a pretty major drop-off in gold and silver in the last couple of weeks, right? So the question is are the conditions still in place, that led to gold's and silver's huge rally? I think, broadly they are, right? Things haven't actually changed. Maybe things got overextended, but the actual background hasn't changed.
Yep.
So in that sense, what are the upside targets? I think we can certainly go back to the recent high, which is about just shy of, pretty much bang on 5,600. I think from memory, one of my point and figure charts has got a target to about 6,000 US.
That's the first time I've heard that number from you.
Yeah, and look, I don't know what sort of the chances of that outcome are, but you'd have to think that the market would be pretty emboldened if we got up through the very recent highs, right? Because that would sort of say, look, panic over. On the downside, because there was, the recent sort of volatility and shock did throw out a couple of big downside targets. I'm kind of remembering that we did have a target down to like 4,400, and I think the market did kind of go near there. I'll have to come back to you on any other stuff just because the last week. But yeah, so one of the really important things is how in podcasts we talk about the geopolitical cloud and so on. And I was looking at what gold had been doing in terms of the daily cloud, and in both Aussie gold terms, spectacularly so in Aussie gold, but also in US dollar gold, the lows basically stopped at or just within, in the case of the Aussie dollar gold, just within the Ichimoku cloud. So really, really important thing is that in all of that incredible price fall, that the price stopped and held at those sort of daily kind of support levels, and the trend is still intact.
That's very interesting. Now, nearly 2 years ago, I'm going to quote you back at you just to make you uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm so sorry. The gold bull market trend had just emerged, and you made an off-the-cuff comment of, stronger for longer.
Yes.
Do you still hold that sentiment now?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember because I actually also thought that applied to the US dollar too. And that has largely been the case, by the way.
It has. You've been right. As I said, I've called you the oracle in many places. You've been largely right.
Considering that there's a kind of what I call a sort of a Greek chorus, people calling for the doomsday ending of a much weaker dollar, and that hasn't come to pass. Actually, I was saying in the presentation today, one of the first things I talked about was the fact that if you look back at my first RIU talk, which I think was May 21, broad dollar dollar index is actually 6% stronger, even after the recent falls in last. So all of this kind of calling for a weak dollar, weaker dollar, has yet to come to pass. It may yet to come to pass, but if you look at the declines from last year, they're still 6% higher than in May 21, at a time when lots of people were really, certain people were pretty bearish on the dollar.
It's certainly remarkable that you made that call, and that has been the outcome after 5 years now. That maths hurt actually.
Yeah.
Listen, Nick.
Getting there,
Now, because of that very impressive gold bar you've got next to you, this is one of the more popular booths here at RIU. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to our next chat on gold.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you.